Hey friends, thank you for visiting with me today. I have got 5 super easy and cute spring crafts we're going to be doing today. Now let's get crafting. For this project we're going to be using odds and end items from the Dollar Tree, a trash can, an oven cover, a plastic champagne flute glass, a little serving bowl, and then also this ring card holder. You can get this in their wedding section, and then a lid for a mason jar. We're going to bring all of these together to create a beautiful cloche wire decor piece. So I'm going to be using E6000 and hot glue on all of the things that I'm bringing together because that creates the greatest hold for long-term and short-term while the E6000 is drying. Once I have the bowl and the champagne cup on the bottom of that tray that you can use to cover up your oven burners, then we're going to go ahead and move on to the top. I'm going to put on that card placeholder onto the mason jar lid and then add that onto the trash can. Now we want to make sure it really locks in well, so I'm going to come inside the trash can and also add some more hot glue. Once everything was glued together, I simply took it outside and spray painted it a light gray, which made it so pretty. It is such a fun thing to be able to use for decor, and you can style it however you want for this upcoming spring and other holidays because it's such a neutral color. Up next, I'm going to be taking one of these bags from the Dollar Tree. You can get 2 for $1 or $1.25 now. I'm going to remove the handles, and there's a piece of paper that's in front of it, so pull that off first and then pop off the handles. Now you don't want to rip the actual bag, you're just removing the handles, because what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into the cutest bunny bag. Now you can see here, this is what it looks like on the inside. And I want you all to see that crafting doesn't always have to be so complicated. Even making a darling little gift bag like this is something so sweet and simple to do, and it's crafting. So if you're new to crafting, don't feel overwhelmed by getting tons of power tools. Start with something cute and simple, like taking a simple bag like this and just drawing a little bunny face on it, adding some cute little bunny ears. Oh, I just think these are so cute to hand out for this coming Easter and spring. So once you've got your face drawn on, you're then going to take those handles, and we're not going to put them back in the center how they originally were. We're going to only glue them to the back side of the bag, and we're going to off-center them so we can put 2 so it makes it look like ears. Once you've got those glued in there, take a piece of that scrap that you ripped off earlier, glue that back in there, and you could cover that up with a little bit cuter paper like scrapbook paper, but I'm just going to repurpose what was there just so you can see that you can seriously do this for pennies. Once you're all done, put some cute little gifts inside and some tissues and hand this out with a big wow factor. The Dollar Tree has tons of these right now, being that Valentine's Day is before spring, so you can find these for $1.25. I'm going to take this sign though, and I'm going to turn it into something even cuter. We are going to first take that sign and we're going to trace it onto some fabric. I always like to clean up the back sides of my projects because that's when it looks more store purchased versus it being that you made it from the Dollar Tree, if you know what I mean. So I'm just taking some of this really cute blue and white gingham fabric that I had on hand, and I'm going to cover up that sign that's talking about Valentine's Day because this is for spring. So go ahead and glue that on all around the sides, clean it up, and if you have anything hanging over, just come back in with your scissors and trim it up so it looks nice and polished. I always like to take the time to do these things because, again, they really make them look like they're store-bought and not a DIY fail. So now I'm going to just paint the back side of that sign since it was already raw, and then I'm going to come in with my heat gun and dry it real quick. Once that's all nice and dry, now we can start working on some distressing, which is really simple. I always just like to use a very little amount of paint with dry brushing, and then I just come in on the sides just to kind of make it look more farmhouse and spring. And now I'm going to take this white and orange gingham ribbon from the Dollar Tree. All of these supplies are from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to just do the first line. And you can see here I was trying to make sure I had my first line right. So make sure it's long enough and it's centered in the middle. And then you're going to pull it over and put a dot. Now you can see that I didn't go all the way across with a line of hot glue. We want it to feel kind of loopy and flowy. So you don't want to keep drawing lines of hot glue with it. I'm just going to simply put dots back and forth, back and forth. And as we're going down, you want to taper down the carrot ribbon so that it looks like a carrot. You don't want to keep it to be the same. If you feel more comfortable, you can even get a ruler and draw some pencil lines if you don't want to freehand this, and if you're a newer crafter, that's totally a good idea too. So you make sure you're staying on the line that you want to be following so it tapers down the way you want. Now with the magic of editing, I'm going to speed it up so you can see that as I'm going down, I'm tapering down the ribbon. And you want to stay close enough to each of those layers that you're putting so you don't see too much of the white behind at different angles. And that way you can see more of the orange. So just keep in mind, keep your layers close together. When you get to the bottom, snip off the extra, pull down that last little piece, and now we're going to work on the top of the carrot. This part is so fun because your carrot starts to come to life at this point. I'm going to use some of this grass from the Dollar Tree. I just popped off a couple of those little stems, and I'm cutting them down to size. Now this purple flower, I always have the hardest time working with it unless I'm making it into like a circle and a wreath, but it has the best greenery on it that looks like carrots. So if you see these long stemmed pink and purple, I think they're white too, at the Dollar Tree, grab them if you're working with carrots because it makes the greatest little foliage on top of the carrot. So go ahead and just glue about 3 of them on there. And then once you've got them all in place and you like how they look, it's nice and full, I'm going to come back in with some twine and just add a simple little bow. I feel like adding a bow always makes everything look so farmhouse, just cute. I really love adding bows. I've never met a bow that I did not like, so I add bows to a lot of my stuff here. And if a bow's not your thing, you can skip that too. Now I'm going to add on some beads to be able to hang it up. And isn't this just the sweetest, easiest craft? I enjoyed making this so much. It took me probably about 15 minutes to make it, but it is just so fun and therapeutic to get my hands on these kind of projects. Friends, if you're new here, I would love it if you subscribe so you don't miss upcoming videos. And if you're new, returning, whichever, do give this video a thumbs up. Now we are going to be moving on to this next craft. It is so easy. I love these boxwood wreaths from Hobby Lobby. And a lot of times people spend so much money on wreaths and you don't have to. Buy a wreath that's the size you want. And then when the seasons come around, buy florals that you can switch out on that wreath. So what we're going to do now is we are going to focus on a lavender flower and then a more magenta flower, and we are going to just simply bend the stems and sneak that right into the wreath form. This saves you so much money. Again, crafting does not have to be difficult. Sometimes it's just customizing things and making them feel like you, making them feel like your family and your home or the seasons that you're in. So you can see here that I just popped in those lavender pieces. Now I'm popping in those magenta roses. And then I'm going to come in and pop in these very dainty flowers that also have that magenta look to it with a little bit of a boxwood feel. So it worked out so perfect. All together, I love these colors for spring. I feel like they're just so beautiful. They're soft, but also at the same time, kind of vibrant because you've got that pop of that pink in there. Anyway, give it a try. Grab a wreath, put some flowers in it, and switch it out and save tons of money on this DIY. If you didn't know, I'm over on Instagram. Come on by and say hi and see what I'm up to over there. This DIY is a little more complicated, but it's really simple still at the same time. So we're going to use one of these wood rounds, some of these lavender flower pieces from the Dollar Tree, and some white burlap. I'm going to start by just popping out that twine, but after I popped it out, I realized I didn't really need to do that. I could have just left it in. I could have just popped out one side because we're going to add beads to it. But we're basically going to do a wood wash on this. I just took some brown and black paint with some water, went over it to make it a darker stained looking wood so you can see more of that grain and texture. It's still a little bit damp here, so you're still seeing it kind of darker, but as it goes on, it dries more. Now I'm going to put back on that twine. And this is why I was saying I didn't really need to take it off, but whenever I'm painting things, I always take things apart. It's just kind of a habit I have. So I'm going to go ahead and just pop on some wood beads, and I love the raw beads with the new stain. I feel like it adds some of that contrast to it, and it also gives it that farmhouse feel. So now I'm going to take that white burlap, and I'm going to just trace a line around it with the circle wood round being on here. And then I'm going to just cut that out real simple. It's not going to be the most perfect fit because we're going to need to trim it down in a second, but you can see that I'm putting on 2 layers. Burlap can be kind of see-through, so I always like to double it up when I'm crafting with it. It's just my own personal preference. You don't have to do that. You do what feels best for you. You don't even have to use burlap. You can use something else like a drop cloth that could be really pretty, or an old sheet that you have that you want to use to save even more money. Just cut that up too. I've used sheets in the past too on projects too. So now I'm going to just fold that over to kind of give it that gunny sack look. I love that look. It kind of has like a farmer's market look at this point. Now I'm going to trim off the edges so it keeps it nice and clean. Again, store-bought looking projects always have the back sides finished, so always keep that in mind when you're crafting. Then for my florals, I'm just going to cut them off of the stems. I never like using the stems. I like to cut them individually so that you can place them on their own and make them look more of a wildflower arrangement versus it being just clumped together. I just think that this looks more realistic. Now my daughter got these stamps for Christmas, and as soon as I saw them, I thought I'm going to totally use those on a DIY. I just liked the font. I felt like it had a very farmer's market font to it. So now I'm just stamping on with a ruler so I stay nice and straight. I saw this quote a couple of months back and I thought, I must have flowers always, always. And I love that. I love flowers. If you don't know, I love gardening. I actually planted hundreds of bulbs in my yard this fall so that the springtime over my home channel, you'll see them all coming up. I love gardening. I picked that up from my mom. Not only is my mom a crafter, but she's also a gardener. So you can see here, I'm just roughing it up, scrunching it, crinkling it so it's got that farmer's market vibe to it. And now I'm going to just distress it a little bit. You can skip this whole sign if it's not for you, but I really did love the extra texture it added to it and added some more personality. And I just, again, love the quote, I must have flowers always, always. So once you've got that glued on into the place that you like, this is the finished look. You can hang it up in a mudroom, by the front door, on your front door. So many options and places to put it. I had so much fun making all these projects and sharing them with you today. Spring, oh, I love spring, mainly because I get to garden again and it's not so cold. So wherever you are in the country, I hope that this video warms your heart, that you get a chance to be in your craft room today, that you get to pick up those scissors, cut something, help bring down that stress and anxiety that we've all been feeling over this past couple of years. I love crafting. It really just lifts my spirit. And I know that a lot of you say the same things in the comments below. So do leave a comment. Let me know which one you like, which one you think you will try. Thank you so much for stopping in with me today and visiting and watching this video. It means so much. Again, don't forget to click the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. I'm going to recommend a couple videos here at the end. One is of my most recent craft room tour of our new home and a new video that just popped out this last week. And until the next episode, bye friends.